afternoon. Thank you for coming. Thank you for our members that have been waiting patiently, virtually. Thank you so much. Technology is not our friend, but we will try because COVID-19 has shown us the importance of technology. So thank you and welcome to CNP event. This is another series of the event that we've been having. Last week we had an investment in our families. Today we're having an investment in newcomers and our young professionals. How are we enabling our newcomers and young professionals during COVID-19? Before I begin, I'd like to give honor to whom honor is due. First, I would like to acknowledge the First Nations, the indigenous people. Alton, as we know it today, is rich in the history and modern traditions of many First Nations and the Métis. From the lands of the Anishinaabe to the Atawadaron, the Unashoni, and the Métis, these lands surrounding the Great Lakes are steeped in indigenous history. As we gather today on these treaty lands, our community calls us in solidarity with our indigenous brothers and sisters to honor and respect the four directions. All these wonderful elements of creation exist, gifted to us by our Creator, God. We'd like to acknowledge and thank the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation for being stewards of this traditional treaty. And this is a good segue to introduce myself. Everybody that knows me knows that I like to introduce myself the way the First Nations introduce themselves. They use their maternal generation to the third generation. And so my name is Adejisola, the daughter of Aulat, the daughter of Oyindamola, and the daughter of Adepeju. Secondly, we'd like to appreciate Red Cross Canada. Without the grants received, we would not be able to take our events to the next level. We appreciate the support because with the support we're able to empower ourselves. Professionally, we're able to empower ourselves socially, and even with the impact of COVID-19, we have the ability, the support has given us the ability to be able to do these things, and so CNP is very grateful. Thirdly, we want to thank the leadership of the House of David. Last week we had to change our location within a day. They accepted us. Thank you. And this is our second one here. We really appreciate you. Always been there, always supportive, with open hands. Thank you so much. The next set of people that I would like to recognize are the essential workers. Why the essential workers? They're putting themselves in the line of fire. They're taking care of the sick. They're helping, whether it is in the grocery, whether it is in the petrol station. They're doing a lot of wonderful things. And so we thank them. We thank them for their selflessness, for facing the fire during COVID-19. Thank you so much, everyone out there, for what you're doing. Without you, the economy would not have continued. Thank you. And also, I want to thank the leadership of CNP. We've been having a lot of things going on, but the point is we're still standing strong, and we'll continue to focus on what's important and how to empower our community. So thank you to all the leadership. Without you, nothing can be done. Also, we'd like to thank our staffs, the project coordinator, the business development associate. Thank you so much for all your hard work, all the passion you're putting in. It's really, really appreciated. Last but not the least, all our members. Again, to everybody on the virtual, we want to thank you for your patience, and everybody stayed here today. Thank you for coming in spite of COVID. Thank you so much. Finally, I encourage everyone to open their mind and their heart and be ready to learn. The purpose of doing this event is for us to learn from each other. No information is too small. And so, on that note, I'd like to introduce our speaker. Our speaker today is Mrs. Bola Osagie. Mrs. Osagie is a professional chartered accountant. Is the vice president of one of the banks in Canada. She's the vice president of compliance. Our corporate experience spans over 20 years in Nigeria and 9+ years in Canada. She's happily married with children. She's an assistant pastor with the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Please join me to welcome Mrs. Bola Osagie.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry about that. We're just trying to put things in order. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. I would like to start by giving God all the glory. It's a privilege to be alive today. It's a privilege for every one of us to be alive. And I want to thank the leadership of Council of Nigerian Professionals and New Immigrants in Canada. I'm not an HR specialist, but by the grace of God, based on my experience in the corporate world, I'll be able to say a few things this afternoon that I hope will be beneficial to everyone that is listening. I want to thank everyone who has been waiting patiently virtually. We have just been trying to put things in place. So this afternoon, or should I say this evening, we are going to be looking at some materials on how to enable young professionals and new immigrants in Canada. And I have a table of contents on all we are going to be talking about. For introduction, we want to quickly look at the economic and social impacts of COVID-19 on everyone, not just young professionals, not just young immigrants, but the impact, the economic and social impacts of COVID-19 in Canada. We are going to look at what is then required from our young professionals, what attitude is required from our young professionals, considering the challenges and the pains that came with COVID-19. We're going to be looking at effort and the action we need to take in order to land that dream job that we all desire, despite the fact that the job market is very tight right now. And then if we are fortunate to have our jobs, thank God, what should we do to ensure that we sustain those jobs that we have today? And then look at the various benefits that the government of Canada has put in place and how we can avail of all these benefits to alleviate the pains of the coronavirus. And then we have question and answer sessions. So starting with the economic impacts of COVID-19, because of the audience, I just limited it to issues that affect young professionals. I'm talking about job loss, unemployment rates, and the number of employments that the COVID has impacted on. So in March, we all know that all this started in March. I think the first week in March, the second week after the March break, when the effects of the virus came to Canada. That was the month that so many, before then, you know, that it has started in China in a very big way, and supplies to Canada have started dwindling. So by March, many companies are already folding on because they didn't have supplies from China, because there was no, most of the manufacturing company in China, they have already folded up. So in the month of March, there was loss of job of over 1 million in Canada. Over 1 million jobs were lost in Canada in the month of March 2020. And at that point in time, the unemployment rate was 7.8. In January, it was about 5.6. But by the end of March, the employment rate in Canada has come to 7.8. By April, the number of job loss was 2 million in Canada. And that was due principally to the number of non-essential services that government had to shut down in order to reduce the spread of the virus. And the unemployment rate rose from 7.8 in March to 13% in the month of April. That was enormous. By May, the unemployment rate has risen to 13.7%. But there's no statistics to show whether jobs were still lost, but the major jobs were lost in March and in April. By June, the unemployment rate started dwindling, because by the month of May, then there were some jobs that were offered in the market, and these were basically in the healthcare section and also the logistics, because many people were now into e-commerce, ordering things online. There was the need for people to be employed in the logistics industry. By June, the number of jobs available that were provided in Canada was 953,000, and then the unemployment rate dropped to 12.3 from 13.7 in May. And in July, 419,000 additional jobs were offered in the employment market, and the unemployment rate dropped to 10.9. In August, more jobs were offered in the market, and we have 246,000 jobs that were available to both young and experienced workers in the market, and the unemployment rate dropped to 10.2. So in all, the impact economically has been improving. More jobs are now offered, and the unemployment rate has been dropping. And most of these jobs are also offered to young professionals. So that was the trend of the impact of the COVID on the economy of Canada as it relates to our audience this evening. Now, I would also like to look at the social impact of COVID. The social impact of COVID, mostly on young professionals, is the effect it has had on most of our young graduates, people that graduated in the month of May, in the month of April, May. Of course, they couldn't have their graduation. Most of the graduation ceremony were done virtually. But most importantly, it's the COVID pandemic made many of them to be less independent, because ideally, after education, it is expected that most young people will like to be economically independent. They want to be independent, they want to start working, they want to maybe rent apartments of their own, move out, and live a life that is expected. But this COVID, this pandemic, affected and began to make most young people to be less independent. Many had to stay back with their parents because there was no job, there was no income to have the kind of economic independence they would like to have. Also, there was a lot of stress. Another impact that COVID had on young professionals was stress because of impact of confinement. The social distancing, restriction of movement, where many people in the month of April and March was really high, that many people were confined to the four walls of their homes, and that really brought a lot of stress. Young people didn't have the opportunity to go out and interact with their friends. You couldn't go to club, you couldn't go to church. People were confined to the four corners of their homes, and that brought a lot of stress, a lot of depression. Some young people took to drinking alcohol. So many terrible things came up. And then another area where there was impact socially was in the area of violence in home. It was recorded, statistics show that so many women reported of violence at home, because now husbands and wives have to stay with each other 24 hours a day, unlike before when people will go out, come in the evening, everyone is tired. Now, people were at home 24 hours, and the increase in violence, women abuse also rose up. And lastly, the social impact, the impact of COVID socially is on mental health. The number of mental health cases increased in Canada as a result of the coronavirus. Now, considering all the negative effects of the virus in Canada, thankfully, we now notice that the effect is going down, the impact is going down, but from what we've been hearing since last week, the second wave is coming up. We pray that it will not go beyond what it is now, right now, if everybody cooperates and we all maintain social distancing, wear a mask, and ensure that we comply with the instruction from the healthcare section. Now, despite all this, what type of attitude is required from a young professional? What should we do? Should we say because of COVID-19, dreams should die? Should we say because of COVID-19, aspirations should not be fulfilled? No. And that is the essence of the seminar we are having this evening. We want to talk to our young professionals. We want to talk to people that have just migrated. This is not the best of time to migrate, because people migrate with hopes, very high hopes. Oh, I'm going to Canada, I'm going to get jobs. But now those jobs available, but to people that maybe they have Canadian experience, it's very competitive. The market is very competitive right now. But that does not mean that there are not opportunities if we have the right attitude and we take appropriate action. And that is what we are going to address this evening. So the first requirement from a young professional is positive outlook. It's important that despite all the negative effects of COVID-19, economically, socially, that we have a positive attitude. What do I mean by that? Positive attitude is to look at everything and see light at the end of the tunnel. Because when you have a positive attitude, it opens your mind to opportunities. You are not limited. If you say that, oh my goodness, everything is not working well for me. I graduated with the hope of getting a job, in the next 2 months. I came to Canada with the hope of settling down for 3 months, and I've been here, nothing has happened. And one develop you are no longer happy, you are no longer interested in the things going on around you, we will not be able to overcome the challenges. So having a positive outlook gives you the opportunity to see the opportunities, to go the extra mile, to embrace the opportunities that are available to you. It makes you to wake up in the morning to say, look, I'm going online. Where is it happening today? Where are these jobs? It's going to people that are, maybe, like I mentioned, some people are fortunate, they lost their job. Some still have their job. Some people are still being employed. I just went through the profile about all the jobs that have been available since May, June, July, August. A lot of people have been employed. Who are these people? What is their profession? What did they do? What made this job to be available to them despite all the crises that we have in the market? These are the kind of things that a young professional should engage in. We should not be discouraged. We should not be demotivated because there's light at the end of the tunnel. The statistics show declining rates in unemployment rate, and the number of people that are being employed are going up. So it is important that a young professional who wants to be successful and go through this period triumphantly ensures that you have a positive attitude. Another attitude that is required from a young professional that I would like to dwell on is that you should avoid what is called imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome. And what do I mean by that? Imposter syndrome is a feeling of inadequacy that persists despite you have the evidence of success in you. It's natural for you to feel that, look, since everybody, I lost my job, maybe I'm not good. Why should I lose my job? Or you have been applying for a job for so long and nothing has come up. And you know that you have the certificate. I always say that there is no way anybody can graduate in Canada without knowing what is inside in that certificate. Because you know that when you go to school here, you have actually been to school. So there's something in you. It is just that the opportunity has not come. This is not the time to lose self-confidence or doubt your competence and say, I don't have a job yet, maybe because I'm not good enough. No, that shouldn't be the attitude of a young professional. You should look at yourself in the mirror every day and say, look, if I could school in Canada, if I could have a certificate in Canada, then I'm capable of working in Canada. That is the encouragement I'm bringing to you this afternoon, that you should avoid that imposter syndrome. You should have self-confidence in yourself. Do not let any negative thoughts erode your self-confidence or make you feel that you are not capable. It is just that the time has not come and that time is nearer than you can imagine. So we should avoid imposter syndrome, whether as a young professional or as a new immigrant. You have all it takes. It's just for the opportunity to come. And we are going to look at the factors that will make those opportunities to come onto us. Another attitude that is required at this COVID period from young professionals and new immigrants is to develop increased interest in the opportunities that digitization offers. And what is digitization? It simply means automation of processes. a lot of processes have been automated. The workplace that we had January, February 2020 is not the same workplace that we have from April till now. A lot of changes have taken place. There have been a lot of changes in our workplace, in our way of life. And it is important for anybody who wants to tap into opportunities after this COVID period to make sure that you increase your interest in technology, in digitization. You have to get used to doing things in an automated way. And these are the things that are happening in most companies, that they expect you to come with skills to be able to fit in. So in our everyday life, anything that will make you think automation, anything that will make you think like, oh, this should be done in an automated way, you are going to embrace it. So that when you get that job, you are already, it's a way of life for you. You are preparing yourself for what is ahead of you. And that is the kind of attitude that we should have. Like a young person now, if I walk into Walmart these days, I don't go and queue by the cashier and say I'm going to pay. I have the checkouts machines, I have the self-service, I just go there. You may not know how to use it. Maybe the first, second time you still have to call the cashier to help you. But by the time you are going there the third time, you are able to punch everything in, you make your payment, you walk out. It saves you time. The same thing, maybe you have a piece of, somebody gave you a check. You don't have to go to a bank. You just take your phone, the app is there, you take a picture, you deposit the check into your account. These are the everyday life automation processes that are available to us. And this is the way the world is going. So it is expected that a young professional will start taking advantage of these ones that come into our life, in our daily lives, and get used to it. Because by the time you get to your office, or many people are working from home now, but the point is most of the things that we used to do manually, they are no longer available. You have to develop interest. Technology, you have to get used to it. As many things as you can do with technology, develop interest, know how to do it, go online and get used to it so that when you get that job, it will not be a challenge for you to cope. Another attitude that I feel should be required from a young professional is that you have to be innovative. Innovation is not something that is so, when people think about innovation, we think maybe they are talking about me inventing a machinery, something that will produce something massive. No. Innovation simply means that those ideas that you have in your mind, those potentials that are in you, you convert them, translate them in order to create value. Create value for the benefit of mankind, for the benefit of people around you, and you will derive income from it. That is what innovation is all about. It's not everybody that is going to do 9 to 5 job. I keep saying that. And the ultimate in life is to be self-employed. So this is not the time to think that, oh, I must just go and do that 9 to 5 job that everybody is doing. It's time to look inward. If it is difficult to get a collar job, then what can I do? There's something in you that the Lord has created. And you all just need to harness it. Look at it. How can I bring this idea into fruition? Maybe you are good at baking. You just look at a recipe. You put flour, egg, and this to make cake. What can I add to my own that will make it to taste different? That is innovation. So this is the kind of attitude that we are expecting from young professionals. In as much as it's good to be employed, but if 9 to 5 is not going to work, look inward. What talent do I have? What is that idea that I've been building in me? How do I bring it to life? How do I make it to create value, goods and services that will be useful to others and it will bring income onto me? This is the kind of attitude that we should develop, which we should display at this critical period. Also, if you have been trying, there's opportunity for you to volunteer. This is a country where volunteering counts a lot. Volunteering gives you opportunity to build network. It also gives you opportunity to build your skill, to put your skill into use. Look for volunteers in the field in which you are specialized. And don't be shy to volunteer. It's painful. We all need money to pay our bills. But as a young professional, you may be fortunate that you are still living with your parents. So go and volunteer out there. Put that experience on your resume. It counts for you. It's one of the things that employers look for in Canada. They ask you, wow, you have done this, you have done that. It's part of what you need to do before you graduate from high school. So now that you are finished and that job is not forthcoming, instead of just sleeping at home and getting depressed, go out there, give your time, give your energy, and gain the experience and enrich your resume. And lastly, what is required from a young professional, it's important that you invest in yourself. I always say that how far anybody goes in life depends on how much you are willing to put into yourself. There's a limit to which your parents can tell you things. A time of self-realization comes when, as an individual, you sit down and say, this is what I want in life, and what do I need to do in order to get to where I want to get to? So it's important that you invest in yourself, and this comes to how do you spend your time while you are waiting for that job. Do you stay at home on the internet from morning till night, surfing the internet? I went to a documentary and I was saying what young people do on the internet. 90 people, they surf the internet for entertainment news. 86% surf the internet in order to make for social network. But only 31% surf the internet in order to get job. This is not investing in your time. The 24 hours you have, why that job has not come yet, invest in your time. Make sure you have access to the internet, because that's where the information is these days. And when you have that, you invest, pay your service provider to have access to the internet, but use it positively. Read books, read biography of successful people. This time we are confined to the home, our movement is restricted, so we have a lot of time on our hands to develop ourselves. Look for things that will empower you, so that when that job comes, you are more than ready. So I hope all those points are being taken seriously, and we are taking them to mind. I will just go through again what is required, what attitude is required from your professional in order to face the challenges of COVID-19. You have to have a positive outlook. You must avoid imposter syndrome, develop increased interest in the opportunities that digitalization offers, be innovative, volunteer, and invest in yourself. Now, having developed the right attitude, what do I do? What do I need to do to land that job, that my dream job, despite all the challenges that COVID-19 has brought along? What do I need to do? What action do I need to take? What are other people doing that they are getting the job and yet it's not yet my own time? The first point I have here is that you have to expand the type of job you are interested in and the location. Most times we just have a mindset. This is what I want to do. But if there's anything that COVID-19 has taught us, it has taught us that we have to be flexible. Because what obtains today becomes irrelevant tomorrow. So as a young professional, we need to look at yourself. Okay, I studied engineering and I'm not getting a job. What transferable skills do I have? Because transferable skills are skills that you have that you can use in different circumstances. You may acquire it from a particular profession, but it's applicable to so many other professions if you have to work under those circumstances. So it's important that if the job, if the course that you study is difficult to be to get an employment there, then what transferable skills do you have? Because what is most important sometimes, you may not start where you want to, but you start somewhere and then you move to, and then you get to where you really want to be. But you need to start somewhere. So if that dream job hasn't come, where do I start from? Throw your net wide. Don't limit yourself. You may have to go outside of GTA. It's not compulsory that everybody works in GTA. There are other opportunities in other locations that you are going to take advantage of. So look at your skills. Which ones are transferable? And sometimes you may need to get a professional resume writer. Many of them are so good. When they sit you down and they ask you what have you done in life, you will see the skills they will bring out. Because maybe when you were in high school, you worked at Walmart, you would have built team spirit. And you know, some skills that you don't even think are relevant. But by the time they package, by the time you tell them all the things you have done, and they identify those skills for you, and they say, why don't you apply for this job? And they put it in your resume, and you are not lying. There are some idle skills in all that we don't recognize. But sometimes when you talk to a professional resume writer, and they ask you questions, you will be able to identify those skills. and you get an employment through that, and you begin to develop Canadian experience here and there, and one day you will land that job that you really want to be. You'll be back in your field. But at the same time, you will not lose focus on where you are going into. So it's important you expand the type of jobs you are interested in and also expand the location. Don't confine yourself to a particular place. Opportunities can come from anywhere, and then you have to open your mind wide. Another step you need to take in order to land that dream job is you may consider temporary opportunities. These days, many employers are so focused on their expense management. So getting full-time employees is expensive. So everybody is trying to make the best use of the opportunity. So many employers are giving you contract job, grab it. You are going to start from somewhere. 3 months there, 6 months there, before the end of the year, you have had 1 year Canadian experience. So that will give you the opportunity to be building up your experience in Canada, updating your resume, and until you now have enough experience to go into the role that you desire so much. So you may consider temporary opportunities, that is contract job. There is nothing bad in taking contract job. 3 months is more than enough. You just need to start from somewhere as a young professional. So don't wait until you get a full-time job or you get a 1-year contract. Just start. Every little step takes you to where you are going. You also need to build your online network. We all know the importance of network in Canada. Most jobs are provided based on referral, but the opportunity for us to meet physically as doing it seriously because of the COVID-19 effects. We can no longer meet, you can no longer have social gatherings and meet people, but opportunities are bound online. You need to have your, of course, many young professionals, you have your LinkedIn account. You have to keep it updated. You may want to, upgrade to premium, where employers will look at you and send you job opportunities directly. All those things, as a young professional, those are the things that should engage your time if you are still looking for job. Update and connect with your fellow friends on the internet. It's also important to have a social network like the Council of Nigerian Professionals. I'm not very active on the platform. I don't talk, but I read almost everything. Opportunity, people advertise job, people advertise things, seminars, events, webinars. All those things are where you build your network, and referral will be made for you. Career Edge is an outfit in Canada. They have special programs from young graduates. They also have programs for foreign trade professionals. These are events that you get to know when you go online. You have to be very positively active online to build your network. Network makes a lot of difference. About 70% of jobs in Canada are through referral. Somebody knows somebody. Oh, I know this person. I can vouch for this person. And then you get your job. So it's important that you build your network. Being online should be used for something that is positive. You also need to attend a lot of virtual events. Information is very key. Like the one we are having this afternoon. I always say that everything that happens, there will be a negative side, there will be a positive side. COVID-19 has restricted our movement. We are told, take advantage. Look at information, like when I say you be a member of CNP, go to the platform. What webinars, what virtual events are taking place this weekend? Look for the ones that are relevant to you. Attend them. You get information. You build your network, and then you launch into the market. Another thing that is very important to land your job is your preparation for interview opportunities. When somebody is invited for an interview, you are good for that job. Because for every job advertisement, minimum of 50 people will apply. So if your resume is picked up and you are contacted for an interview, it means that your resume speaks for you and you are capable of doing that job. So what will now give you opportunity to get the job is your level of preparation. How well did you prepare for the interview? They said, who does not plan is planning to fail. So it's important that when you have opportunity for an interview, make sure you go all out. It is You are good for that job. It is how you present yourself. It is how you are able to sell yourself to the interviewers that will decide whether you will get that job or not. But believe me, any job interview you are invited for, you are almost as good as getting the job. And when we talk of preparation, is how well do you know the company? You have to research the company. If you are interested in a place, you go all out to know more about that company. What projects are they handling? What are they known for in the market? Why do you want to work for them? These are the kind of questions they will ask you. And your ability to convince the interviewers that, oh, I know what I'm talking about. I'm really keen about this company. I've gone ahead to make research. I know this, I know that. We place you in a better position to secure the job. You have to prepare. We all know that these days, face-to-face interview is almost fading away. Practice, you have prepared yourself for the interview. So your preparation, it makes a lot of difference in landing that good job. Another point I want to focus on is that as a young professional in this COVID period, you have to develop what is called your ability to be patient. Things are not the way they used to be. These days, I mentioned most employers are focused on managing their expenses. So when a manager comes up to say, I'm going to employ somebody, you need to convince management why they have to spend that extra money. So even when they know that there's a vacancy, why can't they manage with the 4 people we have? Why do we need to bring in the 5th person? And that means that they may not get back to you immediately you are interviewed. But by the time you go through the first level of the interview, you go through the second level, the third level, you are most likely going to get that job. But it may be that approval process is taking longer than necessary. I know somebody who started an interview in February and didn't get the letter of employment until May. So you have to be patient, you have to be resilient, you have to persevere. So during that period, what do? You follow up. You must follow up. Once in a while, drop an email to the interviewer. I'm just checking. Most times they will not commit themselves because they don't know whether they are going to get the approvals. But when you keep on checking, imagine if there are 2 of you that they have interviewed that got into the 3rd level, and you just say, oh, they have not called me for 1 month, you give up. And the other person, because they haven't said we are not taking you, they just say we are still processing. That means that something is going on under. You must keep on following up until they say, oh, sorry, we have chosen another candidate. At that point, you know that there's no more hope. But as long as they haven't told you that the job is not available, they are just saying that we are still processing, we are still talking to other interview, keep checking. Especially when you have gotten to the 2nd or the 3rd level of the interview. This will make them to know that you are really interested in the job and you are likely to get the job. You have to be patient, you have to persevere, and you have to be resilient. And also, when I was preparing for this presentation, I went in to check what are the jobs that are actually available in Canada today as a result of COVID-19. The number 1 job are software developers. These are the kind of jobs that are thriving, that they are looking for them in the market. And that's why I say when they say expand the type of jobs that you are interested in, maybe there is need for you to acquire new skills. I'm still going to come into that. The software developers, most of these things, all the things that we are doing on the internet, these are the people behind the scene, making sure that the platforms are running. All the e-commerce we are doing, ordering things from eBay, from Amazon, these are the guys behind the scene. And they are in high demand because e-commerce is the way to go. So these are the jobs that employers are looking for. Manufacturers are looking for them. Company owners are looking for them. Software developers, IT consultants, accountants, HR managers, call center representatives. Many companies now, there is no face-to-face, so they are recruiting people who will be on the phone, engaging their customers, taking inquiries and resolving problems for them. Financial advisors, registered nurse and healthcare workers. We all know the importance of that during COVID. So people that are in the healthcare sector, they are in high demand. These are the in-job demand in Canada today. And if there is need for us to change what we are doing or to go and make sure that we tap into these opportunities, that is what this seminar is trying to tell us. still on landing this new job. For some of us, to land that dream job, we may need to update our skills. And when we talk about updating our skills, it may be things like you acquiring a second language. We found that people that are bilingual, they stand a better chance. Imagine someone that read engineering, I don't know why I keep referring to engineering, and you can also speak French. Somebody that can study engineering that can speak only English is confined to Ontario, DT area. For somebody who read engineering and can also speak French, there can be an opportunity in Montreal, in France, or in Quebec. That person will tap into it and get that job immediately. So this is an opportunity for us to look inward and say, look, what can this skill that I have, how can I make it marketable? What can distinguish me from other people who are in my category? What are these people that are getting jobs in this period? What do they have that I don't have, that I have not been employed? So getting a second language, maybe in French, in Mandarin, or Spanish, it will give you an edge above your peers in the industry that are looking for the same job. So you may want to consider, and all these things are available online at very reasonable price. It just requires discipline and determination. I know a young man, in order to learn French, he changed his language, his telephone language, to French. So anything on his phone is French. So that forces him to always, look for any vocabulary he does not understand. He will go and look for it. He lays down every day. When he wants to watch movie, he will watch movie in French that have English subtitles. That is determination. You want to prepare yourself. There are so many of you in the same profession looking for the same job. What can take you above others? Acquire a second skill above others, and look and through your next while you'll be able to get that dream job. And there are a lot of courses that are available online these days. And there is one for the massive open online courses. I don't know whether at the end of this seminar they will share the material. I put the websites where you can get all these courses. The EGS classes, that features courses that are from MIT and Harvard, Microsoft training and tutorials on how to use Microsoft software, PowerPoint, things that you can use to sell yourself, that you can use, use of Excel to analyze data, things that they are not difficult, but they are free. You don't need to pay. You just have to develop yourself. You have to invest in yourself. It's not a time of normal, I've graduated and going to the market. You are coming to the market with something to offer, with a value to add to the employer that will make you to stand out from other candidates. These are the things that will enable you to land that dream job. And also for new immigrants that are just coming to Canada, all hope is not lost. Yes, it's a difficult period, but it's also a period of opportunity. Canada is a land of opportunity. It's now a place to grow. So opportunities are there for you. There are a lot of organizations like Access Employment. They welcome newcomers. They give you opportunity to build that network that may be difficult to build. What Access does is they invite you, they go through your resume, and based on that, they link you up with professionals. What they do, they have an alliance with many organizations in Canada, and the employees of those organizations, they invite them who are also immigrants at one point, but now they are settled in Canada. They invite them to talk to new immigrants. They will talk to you how they went about searching for jobs, what they did, and when you exchange your resume with them or you connect with them on LinkedIn, where there are opportunities, they will connect with you. So going to Access Employment gives you that opportunity to build the network which you may not be able to build on your own. So Access gives you that platform to build the network that you need that can enable you get referral from people who are already engaged and working in Canada. There is also Career Edge. I mentioned it earlier on. Career Edge has a special program for fresh graduates in which they will make you have internship opportunities. Yes, with that internship opportunities, you are gaining Canadian experience, which you put on your resume until you land that job that you desire. And also they have special program for internationally trained professionals where they will empower you, link you up for interview opportunities to get jobs in Canada. And there is the Dauphin Peak Catholic District District Board, Brem J. Fleming Adult Learning Center is somewhere in Mississauga. I attended that place when I first came to Canada. And what they do is that they would, as a newcomer, they train us how to write resume. We go for classes. They will teach you what corporate environment in Canada looks like. And they will organize mock interview. They prepare you for that job. And before you finish about 6 weeks program, they will give you opportunities to do internship with companies in Canada in order to gain that Canadian experience. And you put that experience on your resume, and then you look for a job. And they also give you reference, because many of us are new. We don't know anybody that can give us reference. Your lecturers in that school, if you have good attitude, you are committed to the program, they will give you reference when you finally get a job. These are organizations that the government of Canada have put in place for our new immigrants. Access Employment, Career Edge, and Dolphin Peel Cali District School Board for adult learning. There are so many other ones, but I just mentioned these 3 for the benefits of our new immigrants. Now, moving to sustaining your job. What do you need to do? For those of us that are fortunate today to have our jobs, we didn't lose our job, we still have our job despite everything that has happened in the market. It's very, very important that you sustain your job. This is not the time to lose a job. If there's any country where you lose a job, it's difficult to get back into the employment market, I think it is Canada. It's even easier when you're at entry level. But as you're climbing the ladder of your career, when you lose your job, you wonder, say, oh, I thought they said Canadian experience is all I need. It's more than that. So when you have your job, it's important that you make sure you preserve that job. You do what is right. You don't lose the opportunity, because it is so difficult to get back into the employment market once you are out. And the first point I want to dwell in on, maybe for the benefit of people who are just getting jobs, young professionals, what do you need to do? Because young professionals, people who have just left school, the corporate world is different to them. They are still coming without school, young people, wanting to do things. The Canadian environment is a very structured environment. There are laws, there are rules and regulations. And this is applicable also to the corporate world. There are ways things are done, and you are expected to do things in the way they are meant to do. So I want to first dwell on the onboarding process. The onboarding process is the process that every organization puts in place for new employees. So when you are coming, they appreciate the fact that you are new and you are just coming to the organization. They have put structured programs in place that will enable you transition from outside into that company. But what happened is, because we are so excited, oh, I'm so happy, I finally got this job, let me show them I have the experience. And you don't pay attention to the onboarding process. It makes a lot of people to make genuine mistakes on the job. And those genuine mistakes are not pardonable, because somebody will ask you, but you signed this handbook when you just joined this organization. So the onboarding process for many organizations, they have made some mandatory training that you need to do as you are joining the organization. These are training on code of conduct, ethics, issue of confidentiality, privacy. All those trainings have been put in place, and you are expected to go through those training, understand, and even for some of them to make sure that you understand. They will say, unless you score a certain grade, most times they will say, unless you score 80, it will be recorded that you have not completed that training. Why are they doing this? Because they know the importance of you being integrated well into the organization. So when you get a job, you have a responsibility to pay attention to your onboarding process. They will give you a handbook about the company. Handbook tells you your rights and your obligations. You must read the handbook. You must understand. Don't get carried away with the joy of getting the job. It is not getting the job that is important in this place, from what I've noticed. It's sustaining the job. They don't care. You misbehave, they just kick you out. In fact, you think you are dreaming. But these are the things that happen in the marketplace in Canada. We have to make sure that when that time you are being onboarded, ask questions. Pay attention. Don't be too happy to sign everything. Why am I signing? So the ethics code of conduct, what am I allowed to do? Because these are the things that have made this organization to last this long. Those structures they put in place, they are not willing to compromise it for anybody. You have understood it. And now you can say, look, no, there's a better way we can do this. And you go and tell them, this is a better way of doing this. And you're able to convince the management and they change the process. Because you have yourself, you have first of all studied what they are doing, you are able to challenge it, and you are able to propose a better way of doing it. Those are the kind of employees that will remain in employment. People that add value, people that can bring up ideas that will improve the process, that will improve and maybe the service delivery. You bring ideas that will challenge the status quo, and it should be apparent to the employer that this person knows what he's doing. Those are the kind of people that will be able to sustain their jobs and remain relevant to their employer. You also need to acquire technology skills. I do not have to dwell on that for so long. Technology skills is what is required now. Anybody who is afraid of technology cannot survive after COVID-19. Everything is automated. And you have to develop some skills, especially with this work from home, in order to be productive. I remember when we first started and one day I was trying to log in and I locked my password. And I needed to call the help desk. And of course they are in China and they are in India. I was on the line for 1 solid hour. Nobody picked the phone. It's not because the machine was talking to me. They said we have long queue. Because I can imagine how many people were calling at that time. That was a middle of March when we just started working from home. But when I finally got through, I paid so much attention. Everything was here. I said, stop. Why are you... I have to write everything so that I won't have to call that person in my life. It is so difficult. So the more of technology skills you have, at least to manage yourself at home, the more productive you will be. You want it to say, oh, I'm not able to deliver this project because I had issues, system glitch, my computer collapsed. No. You cannot continue to give excuse. They expect you that you are working from home. If other people are working effectively, you must not be the one that is always giving excuse. You have to acquire technology skills to remain relevant to your employer. You also need passion and drive to perform your functions daily in order to remain relevant. I always tell people, having a job these days is a blessing. In fact, when you wake up in the morning, you are energized. Because if you go and look at the number of people who are just praying for anything at all. So if you are fortunate to have one, you have to do it with passion, with a heart of gratitude that I have a place of job, a place of work, and a job to do. And to even crown it all, that you don't have to run up and down to go station or to drive. All you just need to do is to take your time, stream extra hour, go to the shower and get ready and eat breakfast, and now go and sit down maybe in your basement or wherever your office is at home. That's enough to make you happy and make you do your job with passion. And let your productivity never be negatively impacted. You need passion and drive to perform your function so that nobody has any cause to say, oh, you did not do your job well because you are working from home. We also need to have good work ethics. Good work ethics relates around our attitude towards our job. Many people now, because we are working from home, you feel that nobody is seeing you, but there are some meetings that are still scheduled for 8 a.m. in the morning. It is not allowed that you start logging in at 8:05. In Canada, from my experience, when they say you resume at 9, that your job starts at 9, it means that by 9 you are seated at your desk and ready to start that job. It is not that you walk in at 9 a.m. That's why many people miss it. Oh, I resume at 9. And behind your back, you say, well, I'll get to work by 9. And by 9:15, you are still trying to set up your PC. They have log, everything. That's what many people don't know. This organization, they will give you a log of everything you do. When you log in, when your computer is idle, and some people are employed to monitor all these things. So you will just be surprised at year end and they are saying they want to lay some people off because they are just looking for opportunities so that they can reduce their costs, and you are on the list and say, what happened? They have evidence to show that while you are working at home, your credibility show that you are not committed. You don't log in at the right time, or you go for lunch for 2 hours. You think everything, they have a log of all the activities on your computer, and they are monitoring all those things. Deadline must be met. I said that earlier on. Don't use my computer collapse, this thing happened, I'm not able to meet deadline. Those things don't allow us to have credibility with our employer. And also the issue of social media. Many organizations don't allow you to go into your personal network on their server. Some of them block it, some of them leave it because they use it like Instagram and LinkedIn for their professional use. But you are expected that yes, nobody is looking at your PC at home, nobody is monitoring what you are doing, but you are expected to show some level of credibility. Don't be on your Instagram, on your whatever, during work hours and be chatting. All these things are tracked. They are not apparent to you, but these people are not idiots. Work from home, they are monitoring you behind the scene. That's why I said they are employing all these IT consultants. They need people to help them put things together so that things will still continue as it's supposed to be. Another thing that can enable you to sustain your job and remain relevant is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence relates to your ability to empathize with others. This is a very trying period for so many people. Yeah, we don't gather in the office again, but your employer will appreciate if your colleagues can give feedback, how you still keep in contact, how you check on people, how you send your email. It's not to just fire an email without any greeting. Oh, how are you doing? I hope you are keeping well. Can you please send this to me? You make everybody feel loved and appreciated in this trying period. Those are the kind of people that employers are looking for, because the manager cannot see everybody face to face, but they want everyone in your own little way. You relate with your colleagues and make everybody feel loved and appreciated in this trying period. So your emotional intelligence, ability to show that in your place of work will make your employer to value you and to make you relevant. I think our last topic is taking advantage of Government of Canada benefits. I always tell people that if there's anything we need to thank God for, is being in Canada at this point in time. It's not every government that has been as responsive as Canadian government, and I give God the glory for the life of the Prime Minister and all the people that are surrounding him. This government has been very, very responsive. I mean, how they came up with the CRB in March, April, so that even when people were losing jobs, you have money to put food on your table and you're able to pay your rent. All those measures have been in place to alleviate the pains and the impact of COVID-19. And I'm sure we are all aware of so many of them. But just for emphasis, I still brought some to talk about today. As young professionals, I mentioned that there may be need for us to change our career because of the changes that are taking place. And there's a program in Canada called Second Career Funding in Ontario. This was launched by the Ontario Ministry of Training, Colleges and Universities. And it's available to those who are eligible for training for a better position, or people who want to switch career. So some people that have lost their job, maybe you have not been able to go back to that particular field, but you are thinking that, you know what, I think I'm good in this area. But you need to go to school. You know, Canada is about certification. You need to get certification. This program was set up for those kind of people. People who have been negatively impacted by COVID-19. And the aid is up to 28,000 Canadian dollars. And it is not a loan. It is a support from the government of Ontario to people who are willing to go to school to pursue a second career because they want to change, maybe because they are no longer getting a job in the field, or the field where they first studied is no longer relevant in the market, but the government is willing to support you, and this money will cover your tuition, your accommodation, for books, 28,000 for each individual that is eligible. I have the website here. If you go online, just type secondcareerontario.com. You will see the details and what you need to do to be able to avail of that opportunity. That is one opportunity that the government of Canada has provided for people who would like to change their career. It is to encourage professionals to make sure that you still go after your passion in case what you have today is no longer marketable, or you just want to change because you find another career interesting, maybe because circumstances in your life have changed. There's also the job bank. The job bank is available. It's an avenue for you to search for job and plan your career. On that website, as a young professional, if you go there, there are a lot of information how to write your resume tips, resume guidance on how to apply for job, how to prepare you for interviews. All this information, they are available online, and they are for professionals who are willing and are able to take advantage of them. You just need to create an account, create a job account, and you keep receiving notification. Once you create a profile, and any job that fits your profile, your job, the notification will be sent to your email, and it's now left for you to go and apply. But even the steps that you need to apply, how to prepare your resume for the job to make sure that it meets the requirements, all those tips are available at the job bank, and it's online under jobbank.gc.ga. Still talking about the benefit that's available in Canada. We all know today that today is the last day for application for the CERB, 26th of September. For people that have not applied, today is the last day. But the government is starting another program tomorrow. There's a new requirement now for eligibility for employment insurance. So as from tomorrow, 27th of September, they have brought a lot of conditions different from the previous condition for people who have been on CERB, but that is ending today. To still continue to get this government support, a new program is starting tomorrow, and the eligibility for the EI is that you have to have been employed for at least 120 insurable hours in the past 52 weeks. You must have received the CERB for the 52 weeks before that period to accumulate insured hours to be able to, hour will be extended. All the conditions are there, the way I put it there. You have to have, you are not the one that quits your job voluntarily. You must have been asked to leave maybe because of COVID. You are ready, you are willing, and you are capable of working each day. So all these opportunities are starting tomorrow for people to be able to get employment insurance if you are still unemployed and you still don't have a job, and there is evidence that you have been searching but you have not been able to get. There's another new benefit that is starting tomorrow. It's called Canada Recovery Benefit, and this is for people who are not qualified. If you look at the condition for the new EI eligibility and you don't fall into that category, this is a new program starting tomorrow by the government of Canada, and it's called Canada Recovery Benefit. It's $500 per week for the next 26 weeks, and it's for people who are self-employed or they are not eligible for EI, as I mentioned. And to be eligible, if you go to the website, you find all the conditions that you need to fulfill in order to get all these benefits. We need to be aware of all these benefits so that we take advantage of them. You must have your SIN number to be able to take advantage of the CRB. You must reside in Canada. You must be more than 15 years of age to be able to avail. All this information are available online for us to take advantage of, to alleviate the effects of COVID-19 and to take advantage of those benefits before you finally get that job that you are planning to get. And that brings me to the end of the presentation. It's now time for questions and answers. I don't know, are they asking questions online? How are we going to?
Before we check for the ones online, I actually have a few questions.
Okay.
So one question is around attention span. A lot of youngsters, their attention span is ridiculously low. What kind of advice can you give to a young and new graduates and also new immigrants around attention span?
Okay. So talking about attention span, it all boils down to, I will talk about maybe determination and discipline. Because if you really desire something, you will give all it takes. So if you want, like we have a seminar now, we have spent about 1 hour here now. I know for some young people, they become restless. I'm like, what's she talking about? Let's get it done and move forward. But like I said, one of the qualities you need is patience. Whoever is not patient, whoever is not, you can't persevere. Sometimes it's difficult to succeed in life. So if you are determined to go after something, you have to be willing to pay the price. And one of the prices will be the time you are going to invest in that thing. It may not be as quick as you want, but because you are determined, then you endure, you persevere, you develop that perseverance, and you are able to go through it and take, yes, I'm tired. You just have to endure to be able to get what you want. In life, anybody that cannot persevere, anybody that is not patient, cannot get what you want. I cited an example of somebody who did an interview in February and did not get the job until May. I mean, of course, if another job had come along, that person would have taken another job. But she has already lost hope. But they never told her that you are not good. They just said that we are still in the process. But because of patience and perseverance, she got what she wanted. So in life, if our young people are not willing to be patient, it may be difficult. Because you will just be jumping from one place to another, and you will not be able to consolidate your efforts and achieve what you want to achieve. So it's important that we learn to be patient. You start gradually. You have to make up your mind. You have to make up your mind. This is the price I need to pay. Not everything comes in a microwave. Some things take time to get done, and you have to be willing to pay the price. So it's a determination to say, look, yes, I'm impatient, but some things, to get them, I must be patient.
Thank you very much. 2 more questions around doing something, you said. So one is, when we apply for a job, we've gone through the interview process, and we're waiting. I mean, everything has been done since February. What's the frequency that you would recommend to follow up? Is it weekly? Is it bi-weekly? And these are questions for people that are applying for new jobs. What would they do? What should they do if they've not been told, don't worry, we'll move on with the next person? What's the frequency that we'll recommend? That's number one. Number two, we have a lot of intelligent, highly skilled new immigrants coming in all the time. And most of them are not really happy taking just any job. What is your advice to them?
So the first question, talking about the frequency of following up, I did mention that as long as the employer has not told you that we have moved on with another candidate, there is hope for you. And during this COVID, that is the trend that I've observed. And one of the reasons is because of the approval process. It's difficult to get approval to employ these days because, like I mentioned, many employers are focusing on their expense management. So even though the manager has interviewed, they also recognize that there is a need for this person to be employed. But they want to, there has to be justification. The layers of approval has also been elongated. So maybe before some organization, the country head will just say, go ahead and approve. Now it has to go to their head office, maybe in Geneva or in New York. And you can imagine at that level, the amount of work and pressure that people are going through. So as long as they haven't told you, we have moved on with another candidate, don't lose hope. Frequency of follow-up may be 2 weeks. 1 week maybe maybe too frequent, but 2 weeks, oh, thank you, I'm just checking. And the person will tell you, we are still in the process. Don't give up. In another 2 weeks, what we are trying to say, you are registering yourself in the mind of that person. In case there's another candidate. If there are 2 or 3 candidates and you never said anything, and some people are following up, who is more desperate? It's like you want to carry a child. One child, before you come, it's already, you go and carry the one that is lifting hands up. That is the approach. So you must not give up. The frequency may be about 2 weeks in following up until they say, we have moved on with another candidate. Then you know that there's the road that's blocked, and then you look somewhere else. Now, talking about professionals that are coming in and they are not willing to take anything because they believe that they are skilled and they should See, it's just good. Some people may be fortunate. I'm not saying it's not possible. But the truth of the matter is you are coming to a new environment and things are different. And I'm telling you, a manager coming from Nigeria and a manager in Canada are not too different. They are two different people. And I can use myself as an example. I used to work for an organization that's an international organization in Nigeria, and I was at a very senior level in Nigeria. But when I got here, they didn't even take me immediately because they said they didn't want to give me just any job because I was senior. And then at the end of the day, I had to come in as a contractor because somebody was going on short-term disability. And they gave me a level, 2 levels below what I had in Nigeria. But when I started the job, I thank God that was what they gave me, because I would have failed. Because somebody who has been in this environment and have been doing the job, in fact, the terminologies they are using alone, you will be lost sometimes when you are in meetings with them. So sometimes you just need to take a step back and build a solid foundation for yourself. Don't be saying, I'm coming. Canada is more advanced than Nigeria. The environment is different. It's better for you to take like maybe 1 or 2 steps back, learn the job, learn the environment, understand the terminologies, understand the application, the system and everything. And then you take up a higher responsibility. Because what has happened is so many people lie on their resume, they give them the job, they can't perform. And it should be apparent. And by the time you are asked to leave, that is even more demoralizing. Then you have blocked the way of coming to that organization. So if you can just take a step back, build your foundation. What I did, they put me, it's a bank, so they put me in the customer service department. And in that department, because it was customer service, we handle queries. So I had opportunities to study, to make inquiries from all their applications. I had to read many procedures. I was exposed to so many products. So in a period of about 2 years, I learned so much. And I thank God that I went through that process. 6 months after I joined, some job opportunities came up. People came to me. I said, I'm not applying. Because I was honest with myself. If I took those jobs by that time, they would have kicked me now. Because I knew that the level at which they would expect me to operate, I wasn't prepared for it. But the 2 years I spent in that customer service gave me opportunity to understand their applications, their processes, and then I learned so much about product because inquiries were coming from different angles. And those inquiries, you have to go and understand the product before you can take them. So by the time I was applying for the job I wanted, it was because of my interaction with the seniors on my job that was not the job I should take, that I took, and I was honest with myself. I didn't deceive myself. By the time I applied for the job I wanted, everybody said, "Nah." For people on the job, people will know who you are. The way at which you are delivering, with your knowledge from Nigeria, and then the new knowledge you have acquired here is going to enhance your performance. And people will build that credibility. People will trust you. And when you now apply for that job that you want, you are going to get it because you have actually been in the environment. You have proved your worth. You have displayed that you have the ability and the capability, the capacity, and the competence to do what you want to do. Not for somebody who just come here and you lie on your resume and you employ you and then you get there, you cannot perform. So my advice for new immigrants, depending on your discipline, it will be better to first of all study, get the knowledge and the experience, and then go for what you want. That would be my advice.
Thank you. I was actually going to ask that, is it in all cases that it will be advisable you take like a step or 2 steps below your level? Does it apply in all disciplines?
It's not. I won't say it's in all cases, but I just give my own example. It depending on the industry in which you find yourself. But we just know that this is a more developed environment. And that's why they say they are always looking for Canadian experience. So if that experience is not there, and like I always say that if you really want to be sincere with yourself, you have 1 or 2 things to learn. Even the terminology, because when I was coming from Nigeria, when we use backup, for my own knowledge, is when you back up a piece. And then when I got to the office, they were telling me, where is the backup? Like, what is backup? They are looking for source media. They call source media, in Nigeria we call it source media. So when I said, so where is the backup for this inquiry? Like, backup is computer, what are they talking about? So they say sometimes there are things that you don't be lost, and people are very impatient. How can they employ you and they'll be teaching you everything? And you say you are the manager, and they put people under me, and they don't bother me. You are going to embarrass yourself. And that's why people lose, they lose credibility. And I've seen people that are taking jobs they are not capable of doing. They were asked to leave because it will be apparent. And these people, they don't hide anything. They will send a mail to management that they don't know what you are doing. They don't lie. So that's just the truth. So it may not be, I don't know, in my own experience, that was my own experience, but I wouldn't know, maybe as a medical doctor, even as a medical doctor, you can't practice immediately. They send you back to school. Because they think, you may know it, but there are things about Canada that you still have to learn. Even driving, ordinary driving. You can't just get here, you must get your G2. And in getting your G2, you have to show that you have confidence. Because for the rest of G2, they are looking for your confidence behind the steering. So if that confidence is not there, I mean, we have all been driving for many years in Nigeria, but when we got there, you still have to go for your G2, and it's not automatic you are going to pass it once. I don't want to tell you how many times I wrote my G2. But I got it at the end of the day, when I showed them that I have the confidence.
I just wanted to add something to what you said.
Okay.
Yes, so it's sometimes not even just the terminology. And when they're talking about Canadian experience, in Canada, soft skills, you're talking about transferable skills, the way you interact with people. In Nigeria, you can just say anything to anybody. You can say, look at you, what, but here you say it, and then they're going to ask, oh, how is that person? And they're going to be like, he's okay, but the other day he said this and that's it. So, like you also mentioned, then you've burnt the bridge there.
Yeah.
You may go to company B. Someone from company A is in company B. Or there would always be a way. So it's not everybody that has to take a step back. But in the period of waiting, because that job is not going to come immediately, don't be turning down your nose on jobs that are presenting themselves to you.
Thank you.
But I like your ending statement there. That was very powerful.
So I wanted to ask a question, right? For example, if you take a job, you talked about transferable skills. So if you take a job that you know that you can transfer the skills you have, it's not necessarily the job that you actually want, right? Just to gain Canadian experience. Now, I also see the possibility of, should I say, ruining your CV. For instance, maybe I've been in HR all my life, and I came to Canada and I took a sales job to get that Canadian experience, and then I put it on my CV, and I'm still looking for HR jobs, and they're like, I don't understand, where's your career trajectory, right? So there are some jobs that you can take that might, look somehow to employers. Like, what do you suggest people do? Like, if I take a job, should I take a job that is closer, that I can relate to, or should I take a job that
ultimately getting into? Yeah, so I mean, in taking something when you haven't gotten that dream job, whatever you want to do, like I said, you know where you are going, you walk towards that. Even if you use your transferable skills to look for other job, it should still be something that will take you ultimately to where you want to go. And like I use the analysis of somebody who is studying engineering. In engineering, you have mathematical skills. I mean, you are good in mathematics and all that. So you will want, maybe you are able to get you can talk very well. And so we are looking for people for our contact center, and we want to take you. You are good. You speak good English, this and that. You may go there as an engineer. You use that skill because for you. Let's not look contact center. Maybe they are looking for all these business analysts, somebody that can analyze data and all that. What you are going to be doing there, you'll be able to do it because you are already good in math, or you are an engineer. But you are not going to be there forever. And who knows? Maybe you read electronics engineering, and then there's an opportunity in their IT department, and you have already came in through being a business analyst, and they know who you are. but when you already put your feet in that organization, you are in a better position to get into the IT department because you have started from being a business analyst. Everybody knows you are an engineer. That's the kind of things I'm talking about. You know where you are going ultimately, but you may not get that big job immediately. But the steps you are going to be taking will ultimately get you to where you are going. When you put your feet in the company, you have opportunity. Even when there are opportunities, you get to know faster than people who are outside. That is the now.
The question she has, I don't really think is been answered yet. And the reason is because she said, will you ruin the resume? So,
it depends. I mean, like, see, what I'm saying that when I talk about transferable skill, and you know that ultimately this is what I want to do. There are some people who are using their transferable skill and they find that, look, what I thought I was good at, I think I'm even better now, and they will never go back. There are some people that ultimately they still want to go back to where they want to be. Those that say that even in using your transferable skills to apply for a job, it will still be tailored towards where you are going, but not exactly. Because you can't get to where you want to be immediately. But the steps you are taking will ultimately take you to where you want to be. And it's rebuilding up your experience towards what you want to do.
So can I just add one story? And it may not be a palatable story, but it's the story all the same. A medical doctor coming to Canada. We all already know the person needs to go back to school. I don't know, maybe kind of start school over again, 7 years again, because of all the things they need to study. But this gentleman was doing security job. That security job allows that man to be able to study and do what he's doing. And he did finish his studies, and he did become a medical doctor. And so, because I'm stressing that ruining resume because it does not ruin anything. Whatever experience we gain has value to us for life. How I've been in a situation, And the thing with resume is, even in Canada, they only require 10 years of experience. There's certain things you don't need to put if you don't have to put it.
Yeah.
But the point is, you're gaining that skill, irrespective of what it is. So that's why I keep stressing about the ruining. It's not ruining. It's adding value, because no knowledge gained is wasted or lost.
Thank you.
I think she had
and just to add to what you said, like, if nothing can really ruin your experience. I felt like if you're like aiming for a business analyst position and you're doing a sales job, to show the employer that your work, this is what you want, you're working towards it, you get certifications, you register for courses in line with what you want. Like, let's say you want to get into business analysis, then you register for CPA, you register for Scrum Master. You say, okay, this is what I'm doing in the meantime, but to get where I want to be now, these are the steps I've been taking, these are the volunteer positions I've been taking. In your current position, in your current company, you probably job shadow someone who's a business analyst. When your own free time, you're like, hey, if you don't mind me, 2 hours after work today, I want to stay with you and just look at how you do things, see how you interact with people. And on your own spare time over the weekend, you read up courses, read up, do get certifications and get certified. And at least they see that, okay, you're not there, but you're actually taking steps towards that opportunity that you want. And most of them will be willing to help you because they know that, okay, this person knows what she wants and she's working towards that position. So that's another step you could take.
just want to recap everything is how you tell your story. So what story are you telling? What story is your resume saying? So it depends on that. I could have a resume A, resume B, they've done the same thing. But what I've seen so far is people adding non-value, adding item to their resume. So it depends on how you're telling your story. What story do you want to tell? How do you want to portray yourself to the recruiter or to the hiring manager? And the fact is that it takes about 30 seconds to determine if your resume is going to move to the next stage or not.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Okay.
This is just an advice for new customers. So I've been to a newcomer center one time where they actually told me stuff like, oh, your line of practice will need Canadian license and stuff. So for now, you have to look for all this kind of other jobs that can, keep your views running while you work towards getting back to work. And in order for you to be able to get those kind of jobs, some employers would actually turn you down and be like, you're probably overqualified for this. So we may just want to advise you to maybe, take up your qualifications from back home and just tone it down and just feel like, I just had BS in science instead of telling them you're a doctor. You know what I mean? So for me, that borders on integrity and honesty, So, what advice do you have for me?
So, because you don't want to put your qualification back home, because it prevents you from getting the lower job while you are applying for the... I mean, like, you see, your resume, it doesn't mean that you are lying. You understand? You tell your story to where you want to tell it to. You understand? So I don't want to tell you that I have PhD, because I put it there, you will not give me a job. and the job, if I want to apply for a PhD job, I will reflect it there. But right now I'm going to apply for a security job. I'm just a graduate. You are not lying. That's what you need, information you require to get to that position. Some people have 20 resumes. It's what you want. It's what is required. Even to apply for a job, you have to tailor each resume to the need of the job description. So it's not a lie. And it's for the need of that job. Yeah. And that person cannot see you as a manager tomorrow and come and ask, yes, security guy, you get excuse me. Look at my certification. I didn't deceive you. That was what you require for me. That's what is required for me to do that job you gave to me.
At that point in time.
At that point in time.
So even the Canadian ones, they do that as well. They know there's some jobs they are applying for. There's a girl who was doing her master's when she wanted to apply to work in a bar. She just said she was a student. That was it. Wow. So she knows as well. So
you take your resume to the job description.
Another round of applause for her. My name is Aduremi Kusoko. I'm a member of the Council of Nigerian Professionals. I know we've all learned quite a number of things. Particularly, I know she spoke about imposter syndrome, and it's very important for people to make best use of their time. That while the COVID thing has changed everything, there's no doubt. And it's important for everybody to realize now that while we are waiting for everything to become normal, we need to go the extra mile to invest in ourselves. There are lots of online trainings, free trainings and all now that we can all do. So the young professionals that are online now, I will implore you guys to please make best use of your time right now and don't feel that, there's still time. There's no time. They might find a vaccine for COVID next month and everything will turn back to normal. So please invest in yourselves while you're waiting for everything to become normal. Then another thing I learned now that in Canada, it's very important for you to know that every job you apply for, you must customize your resume. It's no lie if you don't tender all your certificates in a resume. And I think it's a norm. It's normal for you in Canada to use the keywords to let them know that you're actually qualified for the job. So thank you so much for all the tips you've given us tonight. I will quite appreciate, and I hope we'll be having this kind of session often. I'm sure you wouldn't mind doing it every quarter for us, for the new immigrants coming on board. Thank you so much. I would like to introduce our next speaker, and she's also the owner of Just to Sweat, a place where faith and fitness transform lives. She holds a bachelor's degree of science degree in kinesiology and a minor in sports medicine. She is also a CanFit Pro certified personal trainer who has been into fitness her entire life. I'm sure when she comes on board, you know that she's actually been all her entire life. She's also a wife and a mother to 2 children. who are actively into red sports. She strives on seeing people living healthy and active lives. She's a motivator who will positively impact your life. She has impacted my life, yes, our own life, but since last week, I've been following her tips, sincerely, and bring out the best in you. Our energy is infectious. Let her come on board, you know that our energy is infectious. And a passion for health and fitness will inspire you along your fitness journey. So, help me to welcome Ms. Lee.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the introduction. I appreciate it. My name is Nikia Charles. As you said, I am a wife, a mom, married for 17 years. I'm 42 years old. People think I'm 25. Last week I went to the store and I got carded. I was like, what? They're like, we need to see your ID. I'm like, for what? Showed him my ID. He's like, wow, you're 42. I said, yeah, that's health and fitness. That's staying healthy. That's keeping my body right. In 2017, I opened up my studio called Just a Sweat. Is where my basement, renovated the whole basement, made it a studio. I had 40 women that were in my basement, in and out, one-on-ones, doing meal plans. It was big. And then COVID hit, and I had to pivot online. So I pivoted online to what's called Just a Zoom Nation, we call it, which is a fitness online. We do boot camps. We use pillows, chairs, we use water bottles, we use whatever you have at home that we use for our equipment. As to what it is, we use that at home. Next week I'm having free classes online. So if you want to join, let me know. You can join. It's free, 3 days. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. It's online. It's free. I guarantee you will be inspired. You will be inspired to work out, to move. Today I want to talk about mindfulness and capacity in your fitness goals. So for you guys, question is, what does capacity mean? What does creating capacity mean? Anybody in the room want to answer? Creating capacity. What does that mean to you?
The ability to do things.
Yeah, to make space. So when it comes to fitness is all about mind, body, and soul. If all three are not intact, you will not reach your goals. And a lot of women, some men too, set goals to get fit, to be in shape, to lose that last 10 pounds, to do these things. But we are not connected spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. So therefore we fail at these things. When you wake up in the morning, what do you guys do? What's your first, before your feet hit the ground, what do you guys do?
Drink water.
Don't lie.
Yeah, don't lie.
So you communicate, you send praises, you think about things, wonderful thoughts, thank God I'm awake. You just communicate. That's mine. To be anybody else.
I check my phone. What emails do I have? What messages do I have?
And that's where we fail. So young generation, they do that too. You instantly want to wake up and you go to your phone. The phone has nothing to do with your life. You wake up in the morning, gratitude. You gotta practice the diet of gratitude in the morning. Before your feet hit the ground, practice gratitude. It's key. You gotta plug into your source. We fail to plug into our source. Think about your phone when it's dying. I know these young kids, like my kid, another 15. Mom, my phone's dying. I'm like, you're not gonna die, babe. Naima, let's go. But it's dying. So even us as human beings, we gotta plug into our source. My source is Jesus Christ. So I wake up in the morning, I know I give thanks, I do my thing, I go and do my devotions. It's being charged for my day. So you gotta make sure you're charged for your day in order to give, because you can't give from empty well. You cannot give from empty well. And health is wealth. It's massive. I say to people all the time, you make capacity for things that matter. Fitness is important. You don't want to get to an age where you're 80 and you're looking back thinking, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. My parents, I'm Nigerian, my dad's 82 and my mom's 72. And they live alone. They're doing well. But it's practicing good habits. They're not perfect. They still eat their moi moi with corned beef and all these things they like to eat, and fufu at 10:30 at night. We can't do that. But it's practicing good habits now for our future. You're rubbing your stomach because yes, you do eat it. I get it. I'm married to a Nigerian man, and he loves, and I'm 17 years, and he likes to eat the food. But we've actually learned how to make it reasonable and make it healthy for our bodies. Because you think about us Nigerians, Africans, our food is full of oil. It's all the palm oil, all these things that are unnecessary. So we can actually just trade, even get olive oil, switch it out for olive oil. Eat more greens is what I'm trying to say. It's a lot of that. I'll get to meals after. I want to talk about movement. We as people don't move. Now we're home in COVID. Generation is all, everything's sedentary. You're sitting down all day on the computer. I would advise you to get a moving desk. It moves, so you can get up. I advise you to get up from your desk, go downstairs, turn on the light in the basement, walk all the way upstairs, come back down, shut off the light in the basement, because it's habits. It's creating habits that will keep you healthy. And as newcomers and COVID hits, so many things are happening in your mind, and you got to remember you cannot control what happens outside. You can only control what's in your mind and your thoughts. So your thoughts are always, they need to be confirmed with affirmations. You know what? Affirm that I am going to do this today. I am going to set these goals. I am going to crush these goals. I am going to make it, because COVID has hit. It's a new normal. We're all wearing masks. It's not going to change for a long time. So we have to adapt. Like Auntie said, you got to adapt to these things and make fitness, movement a part of because movement is medicine. You got to make movement part of your day-to-day. Regardless of your age, you must make movement a part of your day-to-day source. I always say, even for my parents, my dad's 82, Baba gets up in the morning, does his prayer, he has a treadmill, he has a bike, water from him, he knows religiously, 45 minutes, get to moving. Because if you don't move, atrophy, which is the muscle deterioration, sets into your body. Regardless of you being young, how old are you, young man? 13. I know young men who are 13 who don't move. They're home all day on their gaming device and things. It's all making it every hour, let's say, even for 10 minutes within the hour, get up. Do something away from your computer and move back. And we get 168 hours in the day. What do you do with it? In the week. What do you do with it? You have 168 hours, 24 hours a day. What do you do with it? And some people say, oh, I'm busy. And people say, I'm busy. Busy doing what? Busy, and said Instagramming, idling, comparing your life to what's on Instagram, comparing your life to what's on this, because comparison is the killer of joy. So I always say to people, do not compare yourself to so-and-so, because so-and-so's life is a facade. You got to make sure that I am internally well, and that also builds up stress and anxiety and all that stuff. So and people have that weight in their stomach, I see it all the time, and it's stress, it's cortisol. You got to make sure if you're stressed, that will cause that gut. And I see all new immigrants come in and they want to be like the Joneses, they call it. I was born here, I'm kidding you. But they want to be like so-and-so. But you just arrived. Take your time. Relax. Sit back. Find people that are like you. And make sure you make that a priority to make sure you're growing yourself and so forth. So I always say, adapt to your surroundings, but accordingly. And fitness, make it a part of your day-to-day activity. For movement, I would say 30 minutes a day, minimum, go for a walk. If you want to jog, if you want to do boot camps, if you want to do anything, just move your body. Movement is medicine. I always say to people, I have these bands, simple things you can do. Who wants to help me? Thank you. I got 2 today. I'll take them. Thank you. Green is a little harder.
Yellow?
Yellow is the beginners.
Okay.
I always say, simple things. And what you can do is little things. You get your timer. It's something so simple. You get a timer on, and we're gonna put our arms out straight for what? 25 seconds. So you're gonna hear a beep. When it beeps, you want to keep your hands out straight, right in front of you. Simple. And we're gonna pulse it out. Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All the way through. Let's go. Are you pulsing? How do your hands feel? Something so simple. This is a little harder, which is good. Keep going. Keep going. You got 10 seconds. In 10, in 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Simple things. I'm going to fire. This is good. Bring your hands. You want to bring your hands up? Right arm up. Right across your shoulder. Put your hand inside. And you're going to pull down. Simple. Pull it down. Get control. Pull it down. What hand do you have up now? Control it. You have it? Right here. Perfect. Right here. And you pull down. Triceps. There you go. Keep pulling. Simple. You got 10 more seconds. 10. Control it. Control it. Control it. Control it. 7, 6, 5, 4. Come on. 3, 2, 1, and 0. Switch arms. Same thing. You get all the way up here. Get it inside. Simple back. You can just do that. You can do that. So you get up and you keep moving. Keep moving. Let's go. Keep moving. You got 20. Come on. All the way through. Good job. Pull through. Control the balance. There you go. Well done. All the way through. Good job. You got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it up all the way above your heads. It's straight, you're gonna hear a beat. Now the arms feel. Are they on fire? Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, let's go. All the way up. Keep going. Simple things. You can get up on your desk. So all of you, it's simple. It's great. But you know what though? Your muscles are working. You've been working. My parents do this. It's simple. Simple things that you use. 10, 9, 8, come on, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you guys. How's your arms feel? There you go. Simple movements. You can that's your feet. By all means, thank you so much. You can put it on your feet as well. You can do that side. Simple things you can do with this one little simple thing. You don't need fancy stuff. I always say the last week as well with the chairs. Simple, you get a chair foam. Simple things. Do squats. You get a bike, squat it through. Simple things. Mountain climbers. You can jog it through. Whatever it is, bring it above. Anything you can do with it. Scoot all the way over. So many things you can do on it. If you want to as well, simple. Get it out. You're there. Triceps, zip through. It's just a chair. Anything can be used at home. Anything you find at home, you can use it. Just move. Movement is medicine. Make it a habit. When it comes to water, same thing with water. How much water do you drink? Anybody in the room?
4 liters.
Why 4 liters?
I think I read somewhere that 4 liters is good.
They always say, so half an ounce to an ounce per pound. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you're supposed to drink at least 2.2 liters to 4.4 liters of water. If you go to the bathroom and your pee is dark, you are what? Dehydrated. So please get water. You're made up of 60% water. Our bodies are 60% water. We're made up of water, 60%. So you need water to survive. You gotta get water in your system. Not pop, not the juice, not the fancy water with the fake sugar, stevia, all these fake sugars that are adding to our body and causing cancer. These are causing things we don't know about. We're just putting it because it tastes good. Oh, but it's still water. No, it's crap. Drink clear water. Simple, clear water. My kid's like, Mom, I want to drink water. So we bought a filter in the house. So it's having water around everywhere you go. I recommend wake up in the morning, the first hour of your day, you should have a liter of water in your system. Drink the water. Make it a habit. Get a bottle. Yes, drink water. Thank you, sir. Think about 2 of those bottles is a liter. So 2 of those bottles in his hands is 1 liter. Simple. If you can do 8 for the day, and you can, because you sit down and you go here, we buy coffee, we buy all these things, and caffeine. When you get coffee, it counteracts the water you drink, because coffee dehydrates you. Caffeine dehydrates. So get tea, green tea or black tea with no caffeine. That is I recommend that as well. Water is so essential. You want to make sure, like I said, 4 liters is good. If you're working out, I work out a lot, get more water in. Get more water. Your organs, it helps with function, lubrication in your knees. I've had 2 knee surgeries on my left knee, reconstructive, and I know I drink water all the time. It's making it a habit of having. And meals, we'll get to meals. And us Africans, I always say we eat late. We're late eaters. I live beside Italians, and my kids are like, oh, we eat at 8 o'clock. They're like, what? We eat at 5. We gotta start to learn to eat earlier. Eat earlier, not so late, because when you go to bed, it sits in your stomach, it can't digest. So the rule of thumb is make sure 4 hours before bed, try to get something in your stomach and don't eat after that. I don't want you guys eating chin-chin pop off at all hours of night and snacking. And I have people say, oh, I don't eat a lot. You don't eat at all, you're starving your body. You gotta make sure it's a balance. Everything in life is a balance. I don't say don't have the ion, don't have the moi, don't have the what do you call jollof rice, but in moderation. Look at my hand. This is your portion of what you want to have. Carbs are, yes, it is. Yes, it is. You gotta make sure you have it and it's in. And you get the jollof rice, the meat. You don't need. This is what you need. To be honest, your body, our stomachs expand because we overeat. When kids are born, the stomach is the size of a pea. And think about how you feed the children, right? In moderation. We as humans have learned to just hoard and eat and eat and eat. Why? We shouldn't. It's something we shouldn't do. But we just like to eat and we eat for comfort. And you gotta be mindful of why you're eating. A lot of females eat because they're angry at so and so or because this is happening. Life is happening to everybody. I beg, please. Mentally, you gotta set your mind as to why am I eating this food this time? Oh, you open your fridge. Why are we opening the fridge? For what reason? Because I want to get what? Pop.
So let me see if it's cold enough.
Really? when you open your fridge, think about why am I opening this fridge? What do I want to get from this in here that's going to benefit, fuel my body? I said last week, think about your body. You're a premium vehicle. You're not going to put unleaded regular gas in your vehicle. So if you're a premium car, fancy cars don't take crap. We're fancy vehicles, so you got to think about that. You go to the gas, you pump. You're not going to pump nonsense into your fancy vehicle because it says what? Premium gas. So when you eat food, think about it. You want to eat more greens, less junk, less fried food. It's really common sense, but we as humans fail and we want to grab things. And then we think about, oh, look at my side, look at my this, look at my that, look at my that. Look, because you've eaten all the junk, you've piled on all the crap. And over time, yes, you can eat it. You can put unleaded in a premium vehicle. Over time, what happens to the car? It starts running slow. Things start happening, and it starts breaking down. So I always say, I beg you guys to please, especially being younger or even older, fuel your body right. Fuel what makes it run feasibly. It has to run well. Inyong at 9:30 is not going to make your body run well. Please. Puff puff. Even Gary at 9:30, semobita, whatever it is, late at night, try to eat it before 5 p.m. is the goal. Just eat it before 5 p.m. Make it a habit of doing that before 5 p.m. And then prepping your meals. As females, I always say, prep your meals. Preparation is key. You think about it, you go in, anywhere you go, prep your foods. I prep Sunday nights. We have our meal prep. My husband likes to eat his things. I prep for him, prep for myself. It works because preparation is key. If you don't prepare, what's going to happen? And we fail, and we end up eating crap. So I always say prepare your foods. And I know people that come in from different, Nigeria or Africa, whatever it is, we come into the country not having a lot. But there's so many resources you can get, like small foods, things that will last and you can prepare for the week. Because what happens is they call it the freshman 15 in university, and where you gain the weight because you're so excited, you're in a new country, so I'm gonna get this. Let me taste that. Oh, I saw this on TV, let me eat that. Please don't eat it. It's nonsense. It's not worth it. People said, oh, I want to eat all these things. Stick to what you know and read up on what is good for your body. Not everything that so-and-so eats is good. Not like I said last week, a trainer trained your daughter, saying don't eat carbs, don't eat this, don't eat that. Everything in moderation. You can have it. Have carbs, please. Your diet, you don't have carbs. People go on this no carbs diet and they lose all the weight, and then tomorrow they eat bread and they're swollen. It's science. You gotta feel your body right. Have the carbs, eat proportionally, and eat raw, and move your body. You need to get a calorie deficit. People say exactly you make sure you eat the foods, but are they balanced? Are you balancing your foods out? And are you getting enough greens? Are you getting enough iron? Check your levels. Africans don't go to the doctor. We don't go enough. You think we're good. You think that we can do. I'm fine. That's hurting me here. It's hurting me here. Go to the doctor. Like, please, you're coming in from a different country, things are happening, things are changing, go to the doctor. Get outside, talk to people. Talk and get the questions you want answered, and move from there. I keep saying, health is wealth. And I tell people, also talking about working, your job will post, the company will post your job before your obituary. You die tomorrow, they say, I don't have time for my health. You die tomorrow. I work in insurance, 15 years of my life managing people. People lose their jobs, I promise you, email. Done. Here's your box, they're done. So you worry and say, I gotta work so hard, I gotta do that, but I can't keep myself healthy. That's my concern. Your health is more important than your career, than your job. You gotta make sure you're healthy enough to work. Because tomorrow they will fire you, and that's it. And your employee number, my number is 4299. I know it's off my head. Tomorrow I look at it. I bet talk about it, let's go. I'm ready. Simple. I'm ready because I don't own the company. If I don't own it, then it comes to me tomorrow. So you gotta make sure I'm healthy enough to be able to get a new job. And I'm healthy enough to do things this way. So that's for me, my takeaway for you guys is to make sure you're moving, eating well, you're getting your water, and you're finding someone who's reputable to train you. Because your story last week didn't shock me, it's normal, where kids will go online and see something on Instagram. Oh, don't eat any yellow apples. They don't give apples. This guy said, don't eat this. This guy said, don't have coffee. They don't have. Everything is in moderation. I say that moderation. Please have carbs. If they tell you don't have carbs, run away. It's not a trainer. There's somebody who wants to see you lose the weight and so they can post before and after. Carbs are important. Have before 3 p.m., before 5 p.m. Figure out when you're gonna have, but eat food. Food is very important. Lastly, I want to just say that make fitness a habit. Incorporate it in your day-to-day activity. If you have it now, I want you to incorporate it going forward. Make it a habit every day. So next week, tomorrow, Monday is the day after tomorrow. What are we gonna do? What's one thing you're gonna change? Think about that one thing I'm gonna change. If I'm gonna either walk to work, or I'm gonna get up from my seat, from my computer, I'm gonna make changes in what area. So I advise you to make changes in certain areas and celebrate your small wins. You're not gonna be slim or fit overnight. You didn't gain the weight yesterday. You were not unhealthy yesterday. It takes time, it's a process. So celebrate the small wins, celebrate the successes, and make sure that you know you're on the journey. It's a long run. It's not a diet, it's a journey. And think about your marathon. You're running it every day. Every day it's a marathon, you're running it. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. Like, any questions, concerns? Yes?
Yeah. Yeah, you did mention that we should eat at 5 p.m. So if I'm not going to bed until 12 or 11 p.m. and I stop eating at 5, what's that going to work?
I always say, why do you go to bed so late? Because you gotta get sleep is imperative to sleep. Because your body repairs. When you're sleeping, your body's repairing itself. So you gotta make sure. So 11 o'clock might be too late. But why is it that we're going to bed that late?
Yeah, because I have a lot of stuff to do. I have reading to do. So I may not be able to sleep until 11, 12.
Like I said, capacity is key too, right? So am I making capacity for what matters and what's important? Eating at 5, yes. Eating a big meal at 5, and so you're gonna have fruits at 7, no problems. And fruits, meaning fruits, not pineapple, mango. I need you to have berries. Mango and pineapple are too sweet. It's high in sugar. And yes, natural sugar, but it still triggers your body a different way. So I say if you want to get fruits, it's always berries. Anything, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries. That's it.
Green apples.
Green apples. Hey, you remember it? Green apples. Can't go wrong. Yeah. So, but I
also
also
say red apples.
they're good. High in sugar as well, like grapes. People say grapes are healthy. Grapes are not healthy. They're high in sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah. They always say that. So my thing, I would employ you to eat at 5, yes, but make sure if you're snacking, you're gonna have your fruits at 7 or 8. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
So you said eat 4 hours before you go to bed.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to bed at 12 midnight, why can't I bed at 8 p.m.?
Why are you going to bed at 12 is my question.
Again, that's just our life because I
See,
don't sleep.
you said it, that's just our life. Africans do that.
No. Even in Canada, I mean, most of us are studying, we're working, we're doing all sorts. And I don't normally sleep before 12 midnight. So I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I need to eat 4 hours before I sleep.
Yeah, and I would say yes, that's good to eat it, but I always say you're trying to wind down at night. So I always say the later it is, you're trying to wind down and let your body recharge yourself accordingly. You don't want it to be where you're eating so late. You eating late just disturbs your entire sleep pattern. And when do you wake up in the morning?
6.
And you can think about your sleep pattern. So you go to bed at 12, you're not sleeping, you're just in your bed, you just got in the sheets. So you don't go through the stages of sleep till, let's say, 1:32.
Believe you me, when I get to bed at 12, I sleep at 12.
I'll be surprised if you have my watch and it tells me about my sleep patterns. And so you've been up all day reading, doing all these things, your body's still in charge mode. You go to bed, yes, you think you're sleeping, you think you're getting rest, but is it enough rest for your body? You're gonna turn 60, 50 one day and be like, oh snap, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Sleep is so important because you gotta recover. It's the recharge mode. This is where your body actually repairs itself. You must sleep. I always say, yes, people say I can run off 6 hours of sleep, but are you really running off 6 hours of sleep? Or are you running off your hustle mentality? Because we're African and we're used to my dad said the same thing. God, if you don't get a degree, you can't keep cooking, all this stuff. It's like, oh, but she had that. 4th degree is not enough. Get masters, get this, get that. We're trained. Our parents trained us to do X, Y, Z. But you gotta somehow find capacity and do things that will benefit your health. Because in the long run, is 5 hours enough? Is it enough? 6? Well, not even 6, because you're not sleeping until like 1:32. Really sleeping, like deep sleep. Stay still, you gotta sleep.
So talking about sleep, how many hours of sleep?
They always say between 7 and, ideally they want you to have 9. It's not possible. We're human beings. We have to work. We're hustlers. We are ingrained to keep going. For myself, I sleep 7 hours. 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I go to bed. I'm in my bed by 10:30. I'm in my bed by 10:30, and I know, okay, by 11 I'm out. I know, and I make it. Try to make it work. It's 1 or even 9. Get earlier. Get into bed. Because what are we doing? What are we really doing, to be honest, that we can't do during the day? Think about it. If you can't cram that stuff that you're doing till 12 o'clock into your day, your capacity, you've stretched yourself way too thin. You gotta create better habits.
But there are people who have like premium times that they function. Like I can function better in the evening, so if I read in the morning time, probably won't like. I don't know. It's just that I know that there are people who have like premium times when they function better. So they kind of push it. If it falls in the night, what happens to
You nocturnal, like it falls in the night, you mean that you're up. So your sleep pattern is off. So what happens is it triggers your whole entire body. You're wired wrong. It's not wrong, but I'm saying you're wired in a way where you know what can function. So if you're working, I get it if you're working midnight shift. Totally understand. You're gonna sleep through the time you were awake, and I get it. But if you're up all hours and not getting the proper rest, your body will not function. You cannot even, this is where you're off completely, you're imbalanced. And when you're imbalanced, you carry that with you and you keep going on and on, and you get to sleep and you'll break down. We keep going and we keep going. Now people that are 65, 70, retiring, and after 5 years, they've worked their whole life. 5 years are dead. They don't get to enjoy it. So you want to make sure you enjoy your retirement. You enjoy when you're old. My parents are 82 and 70. My parents work. They live their life. They have no problems. They're spoiled rotten. But they've worked and they're healthy enough to be able to live alone and have it. One John, what's what they say. They're loving their lives. So it's like, it's just one of those things where you got to make sure, like I'm taking care of myself when I'm 80, that I'm still able to do well. And you won't live that life. When you're 80, you won't be doing it 2 o'clock in the morning. There's no way.
Yeah, I just want to contribute to this sleep pattern, Yes, the man is wired to work in the day and sleep at night.
Yeah.
So, and the day, let's assume, starts at 6 a.m. in the morning,
Yeah.
to about 6 p.m. in the evening. So thereafter, you should start winding down. Now, we have a 12-hour period from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And ideally, like she said, we should do 6 to 8 hours of sleep, ideally, every day. And why? Because if you sleep for 4 hours, it's not good enough. There's a rapid eye movement period of sleep and a non-rapid eye movement.
Mm-hmm.
Those times you dream, that's the real good sleep that gives you mental rest.
Yeah.
And it's been proven scientifically that if you don't get good hours of sleep, your body secretes toxins, those, SRS, cisplatin, histamine.
Yeah.
What do? They distort and destabilize your cells. And they even destroy the lining of your blood vessels. Most people who come up with arteriosclerosis, vascular disorders are people who don't sleep well, and they could have heart disease, and it could be. So sleep is very, very key. God ordained it so that we can walk and sleep. So if you don't sleep, you cheat yourself and aging. It ages and it leads to a lot of pathologies in the body. Then, how many hours? If you go to bed by 11, you should take it up to 6 a.m. in the morning. That's 11 to 6 a.m. But to do 11 or 12 and get up by 4 is damage to the body. So sleep is vital and we should try and get sleep.
Practice it. Thank you. That was impressive. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's a medical doctor.
That's right. Oh my God. I'm like, okay. That makes sense. He was right. So he confirms. Thank you. I appreciate it. Confirm. Sleep. Please sleep. Yes.
I want to ask, because we keep moving, right?
Yeah.
If your job is movement, so
Yeah.
how do you process this?
Which is good. You're moving. I have people that say that too. But I'm like, you gotta remember your heart rate. Are you getting your heart rate high? Are you pumping blood through your body? Like, is it pumping? Are you moving enough? People that might, because I have people that work in factories, and they constantly say, yeah, I'm moving, and they get home, plateau. They do nothing. They eat, they shower, eat, sit down. That's it. Same thing. They get up, same routine, and they're sitting at the machine. Yes, they're moving because they're same parts and doing the same, but you're not. Cardiovascular, you're not getting blood pumping through your entire body. You're not. You gotta get on a machine, get on a bike, get on something, walk, like do brisk walk, where you're walking faster, weights, strength training. Something, yes, I get it. Your job is moving, but think about it. Can you run down the street without being out of breath? Can you go up your stairs without being out of breath? If a fire happens, are you able to move? I would say that if a fire happens, can you get up and run? My dad's 82. Baba will get up with he has bad knees, he's old, but Baba will get up, he knows move. Same flow. So it's making sure is your heart, is heart health, is your heart good? Are you able to move? Like is it pumping blood accordingly? Are you able, do you have stamina? Yes.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Yes, my question is still the centers around the teenagers and the young adults. I just want a clarification because the health centers around losing weight. So I want to ask, I don't want to use a sim now to be or for on a big side. Because not all of us will be size 1, size 2, size 3.
Well,
so is it now a crime to be a little plumpy?
Are you healthy? I would say are you healthy? I know people that are heavy and they're healthier than me. I train them and I'm like, wow, she can do a whole lot of stuff. She's healthy. Yes, I get it. You may look big on the outside, but you're healthier than me. You'd be shocked how people that are heavy are actually, they're more healthy. And then people are skinny. They call them skinny. They're oh, she's skinny, but it's called skinny fat. They're unhealthy. They don't eat at all.
I'm a living example.
Okay.
Honestly, I've not changed my size for the past 10 years. I'm an mother of 3 too. But if I find a staircase,
you're
I have to run my woman. Because I was 90 years. So,
and that's unhealthy.
It's not healthy, no, I've changed now. I'm coming again. So, just about this year, I was just running the staircase and my son was like, Mommy, you are not healthy. You just look good, you're not good. So they tried to help me to download this app on YouTube. So every night I do 30 minutes. And actually, I sleep better.
See?
Very, very well. Yeah, I sleep better than I don't pant again when I climb the stairs but compared to people that are even like on the bigger side, they are still very, very fit. That's number 1. Number 2, I don't drink water. I hate water's taste.
You choose to hate water.
I'm just telling you, I hate it.
Yeah.
So for 25 years of my life that I know, I drank only pop. So when I turned 40, my doctor told me you are very, very lucky because no diabetes, whatever. I should try to, and I tried, but I don't like water taste.
Why not?
I don't because I'm not used to it.
So you think about it, taste buds every 40 days they change, taste buds they change every 40 days. Why you drink the water? Try drinking water.
Yeah, I'm trying now.
Even warm water.
Yeah, I want to ask my PCL because now I drink water, but I have to add lemon and cucumber. If I don't add those two, I can't drink water. Is it still? I'm thinking, is it okay?
It's perfectly fine. You're not adding sugar. You're not adding half water. You're getting water. So if you're getting the water, drink warm water. Try warm water this morning.
I'm trying.
In the morning, yes. You don't want to shock your system. So I always say don't get cold ice water in the morning because you're gonna shock your system, and you don't want to shock your organs. The room temperature is good. I do warm water. I boil half water, half boil, and then room temperature water. I like that. That's my preference. I get a liter in the morning and drink it first hour waking up. But I also do not get ice cold water. You will shock your system.
But it's okay other times in the day.
Yeah, you can have cold water. Yeah, if you don't like cold water. I get ice water and you want to crunch ice because it helps.
I can't eat without iced water.
That word, she said it too. That word, I can't, you gotta be vocab. People say I can't, you can. If you choose, if you tell you about X, Y, Z, you will choose to, you will. So I would say in my parents, I can, I will, I must. I always say that. I can, I will, I must. Yeah.
How about people who are trying to put on weight?
Yeah.
What kind of exercise can they do?
Strength training. I have time to do that. We want to put on weight. So we do strength training. We try to build their muscle back and they slim. But there's muscle. You're made of muscle. We have muscle in our body. You can do strength. You can do training. You can eat well. Your diet is key if you want to gain weight. It's not being a deficit, but you gotta keep it in a surplus for calories. And then adding the protein and so forth. It's a whole science behind that. I can't go into it because I'm not training you on something and I don't know your body type, but some I have to assess you and all that stuff. But if you're trying to gain weight, it's possible to gain weight. It's so possible.
But it's very difficult because and so my husband is, I don't know, should I say jeans?
Men are different breeds. It's so hard because I know men, a husband and wife, they train together with me, and the husband loses weight like Like it's just, he looks like way too skinny. I get it, but and men are different from women. We're programmed, we're wired totally different. It's hard, but assessing you and putting you on the right program will get you your results. And you follow the program to the T. People fall off, and you can have cheat days, but reasonable cheat days. Not cheat days where you have days. Cheat days are KFC and nonsense. No. Cheat days are reasonable days. And it's a balance. It's making sure that, though I can follow this program. Don't want a program you can't follow. People say don't have no bread. You're gonna have bread. Come on. You smell, I can get bread will come. You eat. Just bread. You eat it. I eat it. You eat it. So find what works for you. Do not compare yourself to so and so, what diet they have or what plan they have, because you're wired totally different from so and so. So it's finding what works for you.
I'm very active. I work out almost every day of the week for like 2 hours.
Ooh, red light. You said 2 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Too long.
I do 1 hour cardio and weight training.
Red light. 1 hour?
Yeah.
And after, so my question to you, are you seeing results?
Yeah.
Results you want?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
But then, so since COVID, I haven't been able to go to the gym. I usually do boxing and whatnot, but I've not been able to do any of that. And I feel like I've lost a lot of muscle mass. And I'm not really happy because my body's so soft now, and I like being like toned and firm and stuff like that. And I mean, because of my aging parents, I can't really go to the gym because they're paranoid about COVID and stuff like that. So I have those bands, I have resistance bands, I use all that, but it's not giving me the results I want.
Yeah.
So what workouts would you recommend at home? I've tried trying to get weights, but like every time they're always out of stock. But they tell me they're not gonna ship it until next 2 months. So what workouts would you recommend for me to like get back my muscles and maintain those muscles while I'm working out?
I always say body weight training. Your body is enough. I did body weight every birth my kids, and I was 65 pounds heavier than what I am now. I weigh 235 after having my kids. I did strictly body weight, and I dropped 60 pounds, just body weight. There was no equipment. This is when I was 15 to 05. So, and then HIIT training, which is high intensity training. So it's like 20 seconds high intensity, 10 seconds rest. And boot camps. If you come on boot camp, come next week. It's online. You literally log on and Zoom, 6 o'clock at night. And I have women who've lost 80 pounds. I have women who've lost 40 pounds in COVID, just through doing boot camp online. Body weight, we have weights, we use pillows, we use our pillows, we use a broom. Broom's one of our equipments that we use. And we use water bottles, we use cans, we use whatever we have, we use a mat, we use carpet. It's improvising. I'm very creative. It's one of my gifts that God gave me, thank you. So we use anything. We use chairs, like I said, we use so many sticks. It's what it is. So my thing is, you can gain your muscle because you didn't know. And because you're not a trainer, you're not gonna have the mentality to push yourself that hard after you do the gym. Because you're training for what, an hour doing cardio? Doing what? Was it just treadmill? Was it elliptical?
I go for a run, sometimes 8 to 10 kilometers. Then I come back and then sometimes I do high intensity workouts, or I use those bands.
Yeah.
And I do if I'm working on leg day or full body or like upper body, whatever I'm working on.
Yeah, so you want to do intensity, high intensity 3 days a week. That's where you see results. And that's where you keep your muscle mass, is 3 times a week from high intensity.
But I want to build muscle mass.
Yeah, you build muscle mass because you're using body weight. Try boot camp and you see what I'm talking about. You can reach out to me after and give you more tips as to how to get better and even incorporate what you have at home. Your couch, like my parents use a couch. Stuff like that. So many things you can use around the house, even your wall. I have an exercise about using your wall, just the wall. And you can do so much with just your wall. So much things you can do. But yeah, I'll give you my card just so you can call me and then I will walk you through as to what you can do and what you shouldn't do and what's hindering your growth or for you to keep your muscle mass. And diet is key. Thank you.
Another round of applause for our speaker, please. My name is Bola Emmanuel Okorafor. I am a business associate for CNP. And I'd just like to thank both our speakers for an informative and educational session. On your part, on Mrs. Bola's part, on the technological aspects of learning, please network, and everything you can learn is online. Just a quick search, you can find courses for like a week or two that can just learn something quick. That's how I learned my graphic designer skills that I'm doing now. right? So just take your time to learn something new. And to Mrs. Nikki, thank you. The way my hand jumped up just to get one of these, keeping it in mind forever. I just want to add one thing about the topic of weight. Weight cannot be taken as shortcuts, please. Calories in, calories out. You want to gain weight? Calories in, your calories in must be higher than your calories out. You want to lose weight? Your calories out must be higher than your calories in. So if it's about weight, get it's a measure that counts your calories in your food. Get that if weight is your main concern. Please do not try any of these crazy diets, okay? But yes, I would like to pass it on to my colleague, Ms. Bola, for the closing remarks. And that is it.
Thank you everybody. I want to appreciate you. On behalf of the CNP leadership, board of directors, the member, the staff, I want to say a very big thank you. They appreciate you first of all very much. We appreciate everybody. Thanks.
Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.